Hello, Clovis Elementary families. This is Principal Donnell Kellum with an update regarding our return to campus for 1st through 6th grades. Thank you for participating in our parent survey. This data was really important, helping us look for a plan that would fit the needs of our entire community. At this point, we have 43% of our students who will continue learning online through our CUSD Connect model. We have 57% of our students who will be returning to an in-person hybrid learning model. Of that 57%, 39% chose November 3rd as a potential return date. We will be able to accommodate those students and welcome them to in-person learning on Monday, November 30th, immediately following our Thanksgiving break. 18% of our families chose January 19th as a return date for in-person learning. We will be able to welcome you at that time. The following schedule is for all students in grades 1 through 6. In a previous presentation, I was able to show you some draft schedules that included several different versions. There was an AM/PM model and a separate CUSD Connect model. At this time, based on your survey results and the very hard work of our staff, we are going to be able to accommodate all students on the same schedule. The instructional day will begin just as it is now at 9 a.m. There will be a short break with a second instructional block beginning at 10:15. All students will break for lunch at 11:15. Immediately following that lunch break, if students have chosen the in-person hybrid model, they will come to campus. Students who have chosen CUSD Connect will continue Zooming in with their same class. Teachers will be simultaneously instructing students in person and students on Zoom. This will be possible through the help of support staff through credentialed push-in teachers and instructional assistants. That third learning block will be from 12:30 to 3 o'clock. When students arrive to campus at 12:15, they will go directly to their classroom where a temperature check takes place and they will get settled in for their in-person learning. Again, this schedule will be consistent for all students, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. On Wednesdays, we will continue the exact same schedule that we are currently on. The school day will begin at 9. There will be an instructional block 1, instructional block 2 at 10:15, and a third instructional block from noon to 1. This will be all students on Zoom. Again, the exact schedule we currently have in place for grades 1 through 6. Now, I know what you're thinking. Mrs. Kellum, why did the schedule change again? Want to remind you, this is in response to our parent and staff survey data. It would have been very difficult to accommodate choices with the AM/PM model because it would have made us build several different combo classes to also support students learning online. At this time, we are able to bring all students on campus in one block in the afternoon. This will also allow students to isolate and quarantine under our current guidelines and still Zoom in with their class. They won't have to change teachers or have anything else to worry about if they are home isolating or quarantining. Of course, if they're sick, you just need to call in their absence. But if they need to stay home, they can continue Zooming through that third instructional block rather than coming in person. This model is also much more equitable in terms of instructional minutes. Before, there was a bit of a discrepancy between the hybrid model and CUSD Connect. We're excited that it will remain the same. This schedule also really helps streamline meal service, transportation, and our sanitation practices. Classrooms will be cleaned overnight by our custodial team, and teachers will not have to disinfect between groups of students, making it a healthier environment. If your student is joining us for in-person learning, we have 6 points to review that will be very important moving forward. As you completed the parent survey and chose in-person hybrid or completed the Google form that I sent, you should have seen this parent guardian health and safety acknowledgement. I'm attaching it to my email today, and it very thoroughly explains all of the practices, processes, and guidelines that we will be adhering to in order to be able to have students in-person learning. It's important to note that the day will start at home with a health screening. You need to be monitoring your child's symptoms. If they have anything related to COVID, they will need to stay home. If they have a fever above 100 degrees, they will need to stay home. Again, if they exhibit these symptoms on campus, we will have to have you come and pick them up immediately. Please make note that the COVID-19 symptoms are very broad and include the following: dry cough, shortness of breath or difficulty breathing, chills, fatigue, muscle or body aches, headache, new loss of taste or smell, sore throat, congestion or runny nose, nausea or vomiting, diarrhea, or new rash. Please let us know if your child has a symptom, and you will need to keep them home for 10 days or provide us with a negative COVID-19 test. Again, if they have symptoms at school, they will be sent home. If your child has been exposed to anyone who has tested positive or presumed positive, they will also need to stay home. Please call our office to clear their absence. Health screenings will also take place at school. Like I mentioned, teachers will be taking students' temperatures before they enter the classroom. Face masks will be required for everyone on campus. All students in grades preschool through 12 will be required to wear a face mask, as will our staff. Again, information about what happens if your child is sick at school, and I'll tell you more about our care room. These practices are in place to limit the exposure and spread of COVID-19 on our campus. There are responsibilities of a parent and guardian to understand that the district may direct your child to quarantine, either because they are suspected of having COVID or because they have been in close contact with someone, and I will also review our contact tracing protocols. They will also be attached to my email. Visitors will not be allowed on campus. Parents or guardians will have to schedule an appointment to meet with a teacher or administrator. And this does include walking your child to class. We cannot have anyone on campus besides staff and students. If your child utilizes transportation, they will need to register, and I'll review more of that. There are also some recommendations for at-home cleaning procedures. Again, you should have already seen that when you completed your survey. It was also sent out through Permission Click. Number 2, good health. Like I mentioned, no one should be on campus if they have a fever or any COVID-19 symptoms. Masks are required at all times. If your child has a condition that does not allow them to wear a mask, or you've spoken to your doctor, we will be accommodating you through COSD Connect. If you have any questions, you can contact our school nurse, Mrs. Erin Hubbard. Number 4, social distancing will be in place at all times. We will be needing to maintain 6 feet between students and staff. Number 5, punctuality. It will be very important that students are dropped off and picked up on time. And finally, a positive attitude. We are genuinely excited to make this all work and have students learning online and in person. We want to make the best of their time on campus. Here is a timeline, how you can expect to get additional information about this process and ask any questions that you might have. I will be hosting a Zoom meeting on Tuesday, November 17th at 5 p.m. I hope you can join me if this presentation does not answer your questions. On Thursday, November 19th, parents will be notified of any teacher changes. There are a couple of cases where there are some changes necessary, but they are very few. We appreciate your cooperation and understanding. Please do not contact your teacher before this date, as we are still finalizing details and plans. We will have Thanksgiving break from November 23rd through the 27th, and beginning Monday, November 30th, for grades 1 through 6. We will have students on campus if your family chose November 3rd during the survey process. Our CUSD Connect students will continue as usual. On Tuesday, January 19th, any students who chose that date on their survey will be welcomed to campus. Some school-wide policies to remind you of: our CUSD dress code will be enforced. Again, no visitors on campus. Our attendance policies will remain the same. Please be sure to call the office if your child cannot attend school that day. Our meal service for in-person students will be grab and go at the end of the session. So at 3 p.m. when your student is released from class, they will pick up a sack that has a lunch and a breakfast that will be meant to save for the following day. On Fridays, they will pick up meals to save for Monday. What should your student bring to school? Of course, they will need a backpack with any essential items. They will need their mask. They will also need a water bottle. Based on our CDC guidelines, all of our drinking fountains have been disabled. Please send your child to school with water. Any assignments that are due, and also any books or resources that the teacher has asked you to bring. Students should not bring a laptop or tablet or any other electronic device. Some of our 6th grade students may be asked to bring a laptop, but that's it. You will not need to bring any of those devices to school. You do not need food or a snack. You'll only be here for 2.5 hours. You won't need any toys, athletic equipment, or musical instruments. Now, what will happen if your child becomes sick while they are at school? So during that initial screening process, if they have a fever, or during their learning block from 12:15 to 3, if they become sick, your child will be sent to our care room for isolation until you can pick them up. That care room will be staffed with individuals equipped with the appropriate PPE. It will be cleaned and disinfected each time it is visited by a symptomatic student. Again, if your student is at school and becomes ill, they will need to remain home for 10 days after showing symptoms and after they've been fever-free for 24 hours without fever-reducing medication. A student will be okay to return to school sooner than 10 days if they have a negative COVID test and their symptoms have subsided. Siblings and students living in the same household with a student who presents symptoms will also be sent home. They will need to remain home for 14 days from the last exposure, and or if the student with the symptoms tests negative for COVID and they are not symptomatic themselves. What can you do as a family to prepare your student for in-person learning? Please review the schedule that I shared with you. Contact your child's teacher if you need to continue with online learning. Make sure your student has a mask that they are comfortable wearing. Review or work with your pediatrician to update any orders for medication at school. That includes inhalers. Review our map for entering and exiting campus. This will be the same at our 12:15 drop-off as it is at our 3 o'clock pickup. You will remain in your car to pick up your student. They will be waiting for you at the curb in line with their class, socially distanced, of course. We encourage you to take a look at this with your child and practice over our Thanksgiving break, because remember, visitors will not be on campus even to walk your child to their class. Talk to your child about what will happen if they become sick at school. They will not go to our regular nurse's office in the main office. They will be taken to our care room, which is located off of the cafeteria. Become familiar with our contact tracing practices based on COVID-19 test results and symptoms. This has also been attached with my email today. There are protocols for person A, B, C, D, and E. Very important to note that most of this is contingent upon what is considered a close contact. Under our current guidelines, a close contact would be someone who is exposed to a person with COVID or COVID symptoms, that they have been in close contact that would be less than 6 feet, without a mask for 15 cumulative minutes. Again, the way our classrooms are being set up and our expectations for mask wearing, we should not have any close contacts while on campus. There are great resources and policies outlined on our district website that I encourage you to review as a family. so you know what will happen if someone is sick and what you can do at home to stay healthy and communicate with your child. If you need bus transportation, please make sure you register through our transportation website. This step is required if you need bus transportation. And all of the policies and procedures that will take place are outlined below. Of course, the bus will be regularly disinfected between routes. Windows will be open as much as possible, weather permitting. The driver and students will all be wearing face coverings, and social distancing will be maintained as much as possible. Siblings and household members will be allowed to sit together. If you have questions, again, I will be inviting you to a Zoom meeting on November 17th at 5 p.m. There are lots of resources available on our district website and our school website, and also attached to this email. I hope you find those helpful. We are genuinely excited to welcome our Jaguars back safely to in-person learning. Thank you for your time. Hope to see you on Zoom if you have any questions.